All right, now, so last week I mentioned that I was watching a podcast. It was a group of whores trying to justify being whores. The justification came from what men do. So without any delay, here's an example. I found that podcast.
Absolutely.
But how many guys sleep on the first night? If you know, like the roles are reversed with guys. Like guys are, it's so socially acceptable for guys to do whatever they want, especially in a sexual manner. Like, and it also goes back to culture, and especially like most cultures are okay with guys doing whatever. Like literally, like I'm personally Latina, and in Latina culture, guys can do whatever they want.
That's true.
And they are not scrutinized by their mothers, grandmothers, nobody. And it's like it goes back to fucking decades and centuries of just breeding masculinity, and in some cases, a lot of cases, toxic masculinity. But it's just like as soon as a woman does something that's no such thing as toxic masculinity.
No such thing.
There are toxic people, and those toxic people can be masculine or feminine. But when the man pulls you out of your burning building, you don't give a fuck how masculine he is. There's no too masculine then. Masculinity is masculinity. Femininity is femininity.
There is such thing as toxic masculinity.
There is no...
Disavow.
So toxic masculinity was a term created in the 1990s when psychologists were trying to study violent offenders in prison. When guys would step on each other's toes and then they would start stabbing each other, it was just a term that was used by those psychiatrists to determine a type of behavior where men would resort to extreme levels of violence for no reason. And then somehow mainstream psychology got a hold of it and became this pop term. There is no such thing as toxic masculinity. There is just masculinity, and then there are some people who are toxic. That has nothing to do with each other. I can show you tons of people who are extremely toxic online, and some of them are masculine and some are feminine, but the two are mutually exclusive. The idea of toxic masculinity is to shame men for doing things that other people don't agree with. There is no such thing as toxic masculinity.
Alrighty.
Word.
So that's fine. Maybe the word might not be using the right word, but it doesn't matter. Like, it's a man's world at the end of the day. It really is. And men are socially acceptable. It's acceptable for a man to like have sex with so many women, but as soon as it's a woman doing that, it's like crazy.
Well, because
All right, so that's the gist of it. You see the level of stupidity here that she thinks that she's cool with comparing herself to something that she's not, a male. I'm not going to say man, I'm going to say male. I don't like to use the term man loosely because she's talking about a quote unquote man doing whatever the hell he wants. A man doesn't do whatever the hell he wants. You might be an adult male, but that doesn't make you a man. So, which is another layer that I don't want to get into, but for the subject matter here, again, I gave this example last week when I compared a human being to a dog. A dog has the ability to take a shit in the middle of the street. So her logic is, well, if you can do it, I can do it. This is childish and ignorant. She doesn't realize she's displaying how ignorant she is, comparing herself to something she's not, a male. Also, a while back, I made a video on quote unquote cheating, you know, specifically in marriages, how there's this concept of a modern day dumb young female doctrine where a man cheats on a woman. No. This actually connects to that cheating again comes from this, well, you can do it, I can do it. Then we got to analyze this justly. Again, that's why I gave the dog example. If a dog can take a shit in the middle of the street, then humans can do it too. The bounds are endless, and that's what she doesn't realize. She's forgetting all about biology and nature, which are connected. What she's saying is just her, and then we have to be subject to only her feelings. A man is not subject to a female's or anybody's feelings for that matter. So this connects to the book of Corinthians. Here's an example. All right, so right here we have 1 Corinthians 11:3. Okay, now I'm going to do a comparison. Also, you see that I do things color coordinated. No, you see that straight off the rip, but I'm going to do a night and day. Worldly female versus a righteous woman, if you will. 11:3. And man, because there's 4 entities here we're going to see. But I would have you know that, punchline, the head of every man is Christ. This is why I don't use the term man loosely, because we see here the head of every man is Christ. Okay, meaning that man has a governor. He's not just doing whatever the hell he wants, like the bimbo babble we just heard. Like she just said, this man has a governor, Christ, the law. Let's continue. And the head of the woman is the man. Okay, so this is an upward thing here. Okay, there's no equal playing field there. This is an order. But the modern bimbo babble that we are used to, there's no order. We're all equal. No, because then also not every man is equal. But let's get our feelings out of this. So the head of the woman is the man. Remember, that man has a governor. He has a head. This is not the typical tyrant that bimbos like her love to attract themselves to. Okay. And then finally, and the head of Christ is God. So there's 4 entities here. There's God, Christ, man, and woman. This is order. Okay. So again, so this man cannot cheat on his woman. He can cheat on God because that's his head. Okay. That's why the definition of adultery, that's why I made that video a while back. Adultery is defined in the book of Deuteronomy as that married woman who has a head. She goes outside of that covenant with her head and goes to some random Joe. You see what I'm saying? That's the definition of adultery. It's clear. That's why when they say cheating, that's you're keeping it vague. Are you or are you not married? If you're not married, you have no covenant to say some, I'm gonna say, adult male or man has cheated on you. Okay. And then second, if it is your husband, a man has certain things, or I'm gonna say advantages in nature, in biology, that a woman doesn't, and vice versa. That woman has certain advantages that man doesn't have. She's covered. She doesn't have to go off and fight wars and deal with certain things. Okay. That's placed upon that man. Okay. That's one of her advantages. One of his advantages is the ability to have more than one rib or female wife. And it's not saying just freely go out and taste every slice of cake. It's this you purchase that cake and you it's yours, it's your possession. You cover that cake. Okay, it's not just a free for all. Basically, you are whoremongering. This is your rib. She's a part of your body. Y'all are one flesh. This is not what this bimbo babble was just talking about. But it's God, then Christ, then man, then woman. This is order. What she's talking about is what she's allowed to happen in her life. That's your choice. You want to be uncovered and get knocked off by all these different dudes, these low lives, that's your choice. But you don't dare call that low life a man. Okay, you're not entitled to that. So right here, Hebrews 13:4 says marriage, which is a woman being covered by a man, and that man being covered by the Most High in Christ, is honorable in all, in the bed undefiled. But whoremongers and adulterers God will judge. So right here, you see that there's a difference between adulterer and whoremonger. I know in churchianity, they really don't have an understanding of the scriptures. They'll just mix everything in and give their own personal opinions, feelings, and basically everything that does not matter. Okay. Whoremongers are people that are saving. They're polar opposites. This just hit me right now. You have a virgin that's saving herself for marriage, and then contrary to that, you have a female who's saving herself out of marriage to be a whore. She won't get married because she's saving herself to be turned out by these low level, these low vibrational males. You see what I'm saying? Like, you see this in society. It's just that it's a shame that society produces this low hanging fruit. You see what I'm saying? You have your whoremongers and your adulterers. An adulterer is a whoremonger that's married. That's the only difference, is a covenant with a man. You feel me? All right, so basically in wrapping this up, males should not compare themselves to females, which is, it's a shame I should have to say something like that, and vice versa. A female should not compare her actions to what she's not, which is a male, and animals, or etc. The list goes on and on. That's all for now, as it is written, and I'm out.
I know my place in the world, and I'm just a woman. That's not an insult. That's not a put down, but I am not a man. See, God is a man. You represent God, and I tell black women, the closest you may ever get to God is being with a black man.